Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Can you see this smile? This smile is big because before I went live, 3 minutes late, I am sorry about that. I have just seen a Ben Jacobs update on Baleba and it is promising. We had a Simon Stone update basically saying that Brighton are not going to sell, and now we have a Ben Jacobs update saying that Ruben Amorim is pushing for Manchester United to go and show some ambition, go and get in this midfielder, go and get him Baleba. Super interesting, and it just gives me that feeling I am a Baleba, despite the fact that I am a Baleba. I'm a believer, I'm a Baleba believer. And I truly do think Manchester United would not have entered this far into this deal, and when I say far, have the Ornsteins and the Romanos go at it with this information, if they weren't willing to put the money on the table. We've got an update from Simon Stone. I think that's Brighton basically trying to get the fee up. And if Brighton weren't open to selling, it wouldn't have got this far. They would have shut it down straight away. I truly do think that Manchester United might pull off something spectacular. So I'll bring them updates in. We also have some news on Upamecano as well, been offered to Manchester United. Do you think Manchester United need a centre-back? I mean, I'd go for a goalkeeper before we go for a centre-back, to be honest with you. And also, we have some news surrounding Rasmus Hojlund and his move to AC Milan. Really interesting stuff. So welcome everybody to the 2 p.m. show, the afternoon show. Very, very happy to have you here. Get your comments in, get your super chats in. So let me start off with, I'll start off with what Simon Stone said, because this set me up to be a little bit like, I was like, do you know what I mean? I was like, I really do want this Baleba deal to happen, but this is what Simon Stone said. He said, I am not getting the impression Brighton's stance on midfielder Carlos Baleba is weakening. Brighton have been keen to stress they have no desire or interest in selling Baleba, whose contract runs until 2028. They are sticking to their mantra. Whether the player accepts that fact is another matter. And that's obviously coming from Simon Stone at the BBC Sport, who has got good connections and wouldn't say something unless he's been told it. But I feel like, personally, that is Brighton pushing that out to up Manchester United's bid. They have a player internally who wants to go to Manchester United. I mean, he's just started following Mbumo and some of the United players today, apparently. I mean, I don't look too much into the social media stuff, to be honest with you. But you've got a player who's currently on £12,500 a week, who wants to go and join Manchester United, is pushing to join Manchester United, and you are a selling club. There is a figure that will get that deal done. They would sell Baleba this summer if Manchester United hit the figure that they want, and if the player pushes that move. I do feel like there is room there to do it. I think they're just pushing out that message to ensure that they get the highest price possible for Carlos Baleba. And I understand why. He's a great player, a great young player. He holds a lot of value, and Brighton predominantly have been brilliant at selling players for high fees. They've also got an excellent scouting network. They're a very well-run club. I respect Brighton in a lot of ways. I think they run the club absolutely fantastically. But I want Carlos Baleba, and I would like him for cheaper than 100 million. Whether we can do that, that's another story. So with that, we've openly had talks with him. Brighton know about that. They know that he is for sale, and they know Manchester United have been interested in this player for a few weeks now. Couple of weeks maybe. This transfer window timings are always all over the place. Sometimes the deal will feel like it, goes on for months when it's only been a few weeks, and then sometimes the deal will be like that, like Benjamin Sesko. But actually, it's been a couple of weeks of negotiating, so timings can be off. But they know all about Manchester United's interest, and they know that we've had talks with him, and nothing's been prevented, nothing's been shut down. So I wouldn't get too carried away with the fact that the transfer will be blocked by Brighton. What we do have, which is really exciting, and we have Ben Jacobs on the show on Thursday, and I can't wait to ask him more about it, is we have Ben Jacobs then coming out via Give Me Sports, and Ben Jacobs is come out with this absolute cracker. He said, Ruben Amorim is telling owners and Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vivell to go and bid now for Carlos Baleba. Show a sign of ambition, get me a ball winner, find me an athlete in the middle of the park. Even though Brighton's position is not for sale, Manchester United are prepared to try. That's exciting. That is really exciting, because of course Brighton are going to make it difficult. Of course we know we're going to have to pay a big fee. But Ruben Amorim is there and he's saying, look, Christopher Vivell, Jason Wilcox, the owners of Manchester United, we are building a pretty good team here. You've done excellent work in getting me Brian Mbeumo, in going getting me Mateus Cunha, go and get me Benjamin Sesko, rebuilding my attack. But look at the pre-season games. Look at what we need. And if we want to be firing on all cylinders, if we really want to aim for that Champions League football, there's something very obvious that needs fixing. Go and show some ambition. Show that we're Manchester United. Show that we want to get back to the top of English football. Show that we want to get back into European football. And go and get me the best player I can possibly achieve in that midfield that suits my system, that's a ball winner, that's an athlete. And I think that's also a clear sign that Ruben Amorim doesn't necessarily highly rate the other midfielders on offer for that position, which we kind of already knew. You know, Ugate's been benched a couple of times. Although Ben Jacobs has always said on the show that internally Manchester United really believe in Ugate and they think he's going to be an important player in the future, I think Ugate can be an important player for Manchester United. He's still young and I do think he's got great qualities. I don't think he's 100% reliable enough to be consistent. You've got Kobbie Mainoo, who really plays Bruno Fernandes' position, where Bruno Fernandes is Ruben Amorim's captain, is his star guy. He's going to play in the midfield as an 8. So Kobbie Mainoo is probably going to be battling for minutes from there, which is going to be tough. Also, he can play in the number 10. Can you play Bruno and Mainoo together? We've not seen it that much, but it's risky. It really is risky. Casemiro, we know if Ruben Amorim had the chance, he would have got rid of him. He didn't want to play him at first, when he first came in. Then Casemiro won him round with his professionalism and his work ethic, his leadership, which nobody can dispute. He has won Champions League, La Ligas, he's won it all. And he's one of the best CDMs that has been. I genuinely do believe that, and I will always respect Casemiro's career, but he's just not up to Ruben Amorim's system. The pressing, the athleticism that he needs, he's just not got it. The reason he's still at the club is because he wants to stay. He's got a year left on his deal and nobody is coming and getting him from Manchester United for 350 grand a week. So Ruben Amorim's just got to take the fact that Casemiro's staying, and you're not going to disrespect a player of Casemiro's history and the way he conducts himself. It's a good example for the dressing room. It's a good example for the squad to have someone who's won Champions League, multiple Champions Leagues, won, top prizes and has that professionalism and that leadership. So that's why Ruben Amorim's kind of kept Casemiro there. But he's not actually got a midfielder that he trusts to play with Bruno Fernandes. He's not got that ball winner who also has that athleticism that he wants. And he's pushing the ownership, he's pushing the board, he's pushing the recruitment team to go and show some ambition and go and get Carlos Baleba. And if you're the management in Manchester United, you've got to listen to the manager. You have to. I understand he's had a lot of money spent on him. I get that. But it is his first summer. Manchester United, they've got to spend big when they've invested into a manager. They believe in him and his system. They've got to. It's his first summer. Notoriously, managers in their first summer, they get backed. Ruben Amorim's been given a whole new front three, which I think is brilliant. But he's got to go and get a midfielder. And I think it's interesting that even in Harry Maguire's interview with Rio Ferdinand, he said that he thinks that United will go and get a couple more in. Bruno Fernandes spoke about it, another member of the leadership team. I think it was in his interview after the Everton game in pre-season, how he thinks the club is still going to go and get another couple signings, and he thinks that the squad need that. So the leadership team, the players themselves, Bruno, Maguire, who are in active conversations with Ruben Amorim and are part of the Six leadership team, are saying publicly they still need a couple more players. And we do. We know we need a goalkeeper, and we know we need a midfielder. I don't necessarily think we're going to get a goalkeeper, to be honest with you, after the Donnarumma news this morning on the Goldbridge 10 a.m. show. And I never really fully believed the Donnarumma stories just because of his wage. I just didn't think Ineos would be interested in 250 grand a week keeper whilst they've got an Nana there. But we are absolutely interested in Carlos Baleba. He ticks multiple boxes. Perfect for Amorim's system. Is basically top level in every department that you need to play in the midfield pivot for Ruben Amorim. 21, so young, and he's still going to have resale value if you bring him in on a super low wage, so you don't have to pay him high wages. The only thing that the box that it doesn't tick for what their kind of tick list is for signings coming into Manchester United is it doesn't tick price. You know, we had this pushed out of Manchester United for a long time when Ineos first came in. We're not going to sign any players that are over 25. We have signed a couple, but we're not signing older players. We are not going to pay Mbappe sort of money. We're going to create our own Mbappes. Okay, yeah, Carlos Baleba is going to be a lot of money. And that's the only thing that maybe isn't on that tick list that got sent out by Ineos. But he is going to have resale value. You aren't paying a huge wage for him, which fits into the wage structure. He is Premier League proven. And your manager is actively pushing for him. I think United will go and try and do this deal. I think they'll go and back Ruben Amorim. And I really, really, really hope that they do that. But everyone get your comments in. Let us know what you're thinking as well. Robert McCormack says, I don't want Baleba doing an Isak though. Well, so far he's not done that, and Isak is a different level. Honestly, some of the hypocrisy that I've seen flying about is crazy because so many people are rightly so extremely angry about the way Garnacho is conducting himself, yet Isak also conducts himself in a way that could be seen as disrespectful, and you have, you know, the fan base going, yes, Isak, humble Newcastle, come on now. You can't have one rule for one and one for the other. I do think the Isak situation, and Ornstein put out, I mean, this isn't That's Football, it's United Stand, but Ornstein put out a story this morning talking about how Isak's got no interest in reintegrating himself. He's still pushing for a move. And I do think we are crossing the line into disrespect now. If I'm honest with you, I understand he wants to go. I understand he's one of the best strikers in the league. In my opinion, probably the best striker in the league, up there with Erling Haaland for sure. And I get that he wants to go to Liverpool, but you've got a contract. Be professional. You can push for a move without venturing into being disrespectful, in my opinion. The fans have loved you and adored you, and I just, why should Newcastle sell you when you've got a contract for, I think he's got a contract for another 3 years, is it? But why should Newcastle sell you when you've got a contract and they've still not found a replacement for you? Just because you're saying so, just because he kicks up a fuss. Newcastle need to be in the best possible position to start the league, and I understand why they want to get a replacement in before they let him go, and I think he maybe could have done it in a more respectful manner. Of course, push for a transfer if you want one. Say you want to leave, say you want to go to Liverpool, but don't completely refuse to reintegrate yourself back in and train with the team. Andreas Goose says, Casemiro equals Manchester United's grandfather, need a midfielder and a goalkeeper. Donnarumma to City, Donnarumma bomb. Hold on. Surely not. Let me go and have a look. Quickly see if I can find anything here. Okay, let me have a look. Apparently it's come from Fabrizio. Oh, Donnarumma to City. Oh, okay. So, this came out from Fabrizio Romano. This was 6 hours ago. Pep Guardiola remains a big admirer of Donnarumma despite Man City's recent signing of James Trafford. And then Fabrizio 3 minutes ago have just quote tweeted it with a eyes emoji, a blue emoji, and then a bomb. And usually when he does that, it means a transfer bomb is incoming. So I would expect very, very quickly an update from Fabrizio saying Man City have entered the race to sign Donnarumma from PSG, and it looks like they could get a deal done. That would be huge. I mean, poor James Trafford turned down the opportunity to go and be number one at Newcastle to go to City, and he's not going to be number one if Donnarumma comes in. He'll be in the same position he was when he left. Do you remember when he left City because he wanted to go and get game time? He's come back to try and be number one, and next thing you know, best keeper in the world's coming in. If you're United, do you get involved in that? Do you? Question for the chat. If you're Manchester United and you see that City are about to enter the race to sign Donnarumma, one of the best keepers in the world, and we've got a keeper crisis, and we absolutely need a keeper because the club know we need a keeper. We tried to go and get Emi Martinez on loan. He's a first choice keeper. We wouldn't have done that if we were absolutely assured in our keeping options. Do you go in and enter that race? Because we've seen how Ineos work, and it's worked well for us. And we are, honestly, I will give credit where it's due. We are absolutely handling this transfer window better than I've seen us handle transfers before. We will only enter a race if we know the player wants us and wants to come to us. Like, we didn't enter into Sesko and put a bid in for Sesko until Sesko said, I want to play for you. When we went in and sniffed around Gyökeres, his preference was Arsenal. We never went in with a bid. We never got into discussions because you want to play for Arsenal, we're not entering into that. Even though we wanted Gyökeres, he was an option for us, we didn't get into it because he wanted Arsenal. We usually only step things up when a player indicates they want to come to us, and we've seen that multiple times before. So, and if City go in for Donnarumma, let's be real, like, as much as United is very attractive still, as we've seen with Cunha, with Mbeumo, with Sesko, all picking us over Champions League clubs. City have got Champions League, they've got Pep Guardiola. It's going to be, I think, up Donnarumma's street, especially coming from a club like PSG. So my priority is Baleba. I've said this before, if we have to go next season enduring Bayindir and Onana, I will take that hit to get Baleba in. Of course, it will cost us at certain moments of the season. We're going to have to deal with that. You can't fix everything in one summer. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. But when I watched pre-season, when you look at the stats back from last season, midfield is more important. Even though Onana made some howlers last season, our defensive record was decent. It was up there in the Premier League. It was more towards the top of the table. Our attacking return was absolutely dire. It was horrible. It was awful. We could not score goals. We could not put balls in the back of the net. We scored 44 goals. Manchester United scored 44 goals in the Premier League. That is abysmal. So what Ruben Amorim's done is he's rebuilt his front three, which needed to happen. He's got a brand new front three. But what we also need to do, as we've seen in pre-season, is fix that hole in the midfield. We have to have athletes in the midfield to maintain that press, to maintain the tempo that he wants. We do need a goalkeeper. We absolutely do. But if I have to endure another year of Onana and Bayindir to get Baleba in, I will. I will. And a lot of people won't want to listen to me on the goalkeeper because of the Onana thing, and I understand that. But what I think will happen, if we sign Baleba this summer, I don't think we'll get a keeper. Max will do is replace Bayindir with, say, a Lamans. Onana will stay. But what I do think will happen is I think next summer, Diogo Costa, who is Amorim's first choice, I said this on a show last Friday, Diogo Costa, who is Amorim's first choice and was his first choice, who we had Portuguese journalist Sebastião Sousa Pinto come on the show, who is close to Sporting, say that Amorim rang Costa and said he wants him to be his number one. I think we go for Costa next season. And if Donnarumma goes to City were the other club from the Premier League that were massively interested in Diogo Costa. Porto sort of priced him out of a move this summer. Another year's gone on his contract next summer. We go in for Costa. Donnarumma's already at City. I could see that happening. So let's see. But for me, Baleba has to be the priority as of now. Belzig says, hey Beth, what's the Baleba update? Rewind to the start of the show. Because people who've been watching from the start, they don't need to hear it twice. Zena United says, Beth, do you ever think we can get that fear factor back at Old Trafford where games was won without even kicking a ball? I think, never say never. I think City had that for a period. I don't think they have it right now. I think that period where City were absolutely off the scale, there was that feeling that when you went there, like, it was going to be so difficult that teams maybe went in there subconsciously with the mentality of already kind of succumbing to defeat. But that's changed now, and football's always evolving, but potentially. Andreas Goose says, if no Baleba, then absolutely get the best goalkeeper. Dennis IG says, what about Hayden Hackney? Should we get him? I mean, people talk about that a lot, Hayden Hackney, but I've not heard anything substantial on it. Scooby says, thoughts on Garnacho wanting Chelsea? I mean, he wants Chelsea for the status. I don't think it's the best move for his career. That's my own personal opinion. He wants to go and play for Chelsea because you go in playing for a Champions League club and you go in playing for Chelsea. Like, I was watching Gittins the other day, even Estavio, and then you have Neto on the other side. Like, if he gets game time and he starts regularly there, then fair enough. But I don't think it's the best move for his career and his development, but it's up to him. He wants Chelsea, he wants Chelsea. I think there's a way of going about things, and I didn't like the comment, it's Chelsea or nothing, I'll stay and play here for 12 months with no football. Go and do that then. Go and do that then and miss the World Cup. If Chelsea don't give us at least 40 million, I would genuinely say, all right then, and keep him there. Like, a player cannot demand to us what we accept and don't accept. Like, it would just set the complete wrong example, and it shows future players, if they ever have a fallout or if anything happens or they ever want to leave, that they can just sit there till the end of summer and say, right, I'm not going to play then unless you sell me for this price. No. We decide, the club decides, no player is bigger than the club and plays us like that. OO says, Queen Beth, we want to see you in the third kit soon. Hopefully. I saw the crop version of it earlier. That looks so nice. I've told Goldbridge he's got to get in it if we sign Baleba. But thank you everyone for getting your super chats in there. People saying Costa's going to cost... Frank J says Costa's going to cost at least 90 million. No, it won't. I spoke to Sebastio Sousa Pinto and it's they want around 35 million pounds for him at the moment, 40 million euros, which is a bit out of our budget right now. But next year is something we could potentially do. You know, and also there's people saying if we don't get a midfielder. In my opinion, that is the biggest mistake. We have to get a midfielder this summer. There is no if or buts about it. Whether it's Baleba, whether it's someone else, I want it to Baleba. I said on the show yesterday, if you don't buy right, you buy twice. But we have to get a midfielder. We have to. And Baleba would just be absolutely out of this world. We've got a little bit more to bring in. Sorry, that took up so much of the show, but we had a little bit of news coming through on Donnarumma on here. We have Upamecano to get into. So, Dayot Upamecano's agent, Musa Sissoko, has offered his client 2 Premier League clubs, including Manchester United. What are your thoughts on this? Would you take Upamecano? For me, I think Upamecano was a really exciting up-and-coming centre-back. However, right now, like, centre-back is not at the top of my list. You'll see, we've got a cracking show coming out. I'm hoping it's coming out on Wednesday. If not, it'll definitely... I know, I've just actually had a look at a WhatsApp that Goldbridge just sent me. It's coming out on Wednesday. And it's me, Ricky and Maud's previewing the season. And guys, you are in for a treat. It was a Ricky cracker. Him and Maud were going at it. I was stuck in the middle. There's some wild predictions in there. And of course, you've not heard from Ricky for a long time. He thinks the most important position for Manchester United to sign right now is a centre-back. He thinks that. He doesn't think anyone is a top-class centre-back at United apart from Luke Shaw. That's what Ricky thinks. Giving away a little bit, there's way more where that's come from, and you'll have to tune in for the show on Wednesday. But I have a different opinion. I think, I mean, I'm not saying our centre-backs are world-class because, you know, we are yet to have someone in the elite calibre of like a Saliba, Gabriel, Van Dijk. I'm hoping, you know, some of the players can step up into that role. We have Lenny Yoro, who isn't at that level yet, but he's really exciting and could reach it. We have De Ligt, who I also think can step up this season. I think Maguire's been decent recently. Of course, he's not absolute world-class level, but we've got a lot of good centre-back options, in my opinion. We've got Mazraoui, who's great at right-sided centre-back. Luke Shaw, who I think when he's fit is really good player. I know a lot of people don't agree. We've got Lisandro Martinez, who's now back on grass and is, you know, yet to come back and won't be back at the start of the season, but will be back at some point very, very soon in the near future. Lisandro Martinez, apparently, according to Sully, trained on grass individually and he's making positive progress. So we've Aiden Heaven, who's up and coming. Okay, yeah, they're not of the level of Saliba, Gabriel, Van Dijk, but I do think we've got enough there to cover. And speaking of which, Upamecano isn't at that level either, so it doesn't even matter. He can be offered to us all he wants, but I swear we tried to go for him and he turned us down for Bayern Munich in the past. I might be wrong on that one. So I don't want him. I think there was a really exciting player there. He still, you know, is a good player. But it's not a priority for us right now. It's not a priority for us right now, and I'd much rather spend that money on a midfielder and a goalkeeper. And I think that is just a little bit of agent work. The player probably needs to move away from Bayern Munich, or he wants a new contract. We know what happens there. But I would err towards the side of wants to move away from Bayern Munich, or Bayern Munich might be pushing him out, or something along them lines. And they're going round, oh, fancies a move in the Premier League. Let's go and offer to teams who we think might bite on this. United have showed interest before. I don't think we're going to take the offer up on that. Like, Chelsea came to the table to discuss Garnacho negotiations and started putting Gabby Vega on the table, started putting Nkunku on the table, started putting other players they didn't want on the table. I won't be surprised if they put Sterling on the table. You can do one, thank you very much. Just because you want us to take them players doesn't mean we want them. We'll do things on our terms. So with Upamecano, good player, I think. I know a lot of people calling him in the chat and saying that they don't really fancy him, but good player, but for me, not something that Manchester United needs right now. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I was going to go for a centre-back, I'd want someone better than Upamecano. As much as I think he's good, I don't think he's world-class, and I don't think he's ever going to be world-class right now. Andrea Skew says Briggy's priority is a goalkeeper, 10 out of 10. The midfield is a 9 out of 10. Disagree. I think the midfield is. I think the midfield is a bigger priority. I think games are won and lost in the midfield. Yes, we need a keeper who can keep shots out, but we need both. But midfield edges it for me. Awo says, want to bet with me? We're signing Baleba plus a first choice keeper. What do we want there? If we do that, what do you want me to do? And nothing rude in the comments, please. If we sign Baleba and a first choice keeper, what should I do to celebrate that? Dennis G says, all hail King Ricky, bring MVP McSauce back. By the way, how good would McTominay be in this pivot system? Athletic, strong, ball carrier. I think he'd be great in an Amorim system. We have Mojo says, we have the worst keeper amongst the teams who will challenge for Europe, and yet we let an opportunity pass to sign Donnarumma. When will we ever get an opportunity to sign someone like that for 26 million? Diogo Costa will be in excess of 50 million. He's not going to be in excess of 50 million, Diogo Costa. He won't be cheap, but he won't be in excess of 50 million. I know what you're saying, but the wages are high with Donnarumma. It's 250 grand a week. That adds up. And also, character is a big part of things. I take Donnarumma, but I'm just coming at it from an Ineos point of view. Character is huge for Ruben Amorim, and if you said to me, Donnarumma or Baleba this summer, I would say Baleba. And Ruben Amorim might be there saying the same. He might be there saying the same. And Zena says, sent a United Stand membership, so thank you very much for that one. Oh gosh, have we already had some red hair? People saying dye my hair red. You know what? Could get some spray paint in it. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for a bit of spray paint. Woozy says, in hindsight, maybe we should have gone for Pickford or Raya instead of Onana. I hope all you Onana hipsters are happy. We're now likely stuck with him. I did say Raya initially, but let's not go down that rabbit hole once again. Anyway, last little bit of the show that I wanted to bring in is this, which I thought was very interesting. And this is AC Milan's former manager, Sashi, on Rasmus Hojlund. He said this, and this came from Christian Volk, which is AC Milan's former manager, and he said, first of all, we're not talking about Van Basten, nor one of the best centre-forwards in Europe right now. He's a decent player, nothing more. I don't understand his decision. If AC Milan calls you, you should pack your bags and get on the first plane. AC Milan is a legendary name in the world of football. I would take every player who is signed for a tour of the trophy room so they can fully understand where they have ended up. AC Milan has obviously got brilliant history. It's a very well-respected club in Europe. However, AC Milan or Man United, where would you rather be? Personally, United has a bigger history, is a bigger club, and I would rather be there. Hojlund's a boyhood Man United fan. You've got to understand that. However, I do kind of understand the fact that Rasmus Hojlund is not going to get minutes at United. AC Milan are offering him a chance to come and play for them. I think Hojlund, should be very happy that, a club like AC Milan are in for him. I think it's a great move for him. They get in the Champions League regularly. It's a very prestigious club in Italy. I know they're not doing the best at the moment. I know they've been up and down, but I kind of agree that Hojlund maybe should be looking at that opportunity with a little bit more, kind of appetite. I think he should be a little bit more serious about that being a genuine move for him, because if he's not going to get the minutes at United, don't get me wrong, I understand why you'd want to stay at United. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You feel like you've been dealt a bad hand. You feel like you can do better now. You've got Upamecano behind you. You've learnt the Premier League. You've got a manager who's got a series project, who has got the team playing better. I get that. But if you're not going to have minutes and the decision's been made, I think AC Milan is a club that you can seriously build a career at. But anyway, that's on that. Let's see if that changes Rasmus Hojlund's mind in any way. Some people are saying AC Milan is a bigger club than Manchester United. AC Milan is one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's a huge club, huge club. If you were talking about another Premier League club, I'd have a big debate with you. AC Milan is a bigger club than, the likes of a Man City. AC Milan's a bigger club than Chelsea, potentially. I think it is a bigger club than Chelsea. It's not a bigger club than Manchester United. I don't think it's a bigger club than Manchester United. I think the only club in the world that you can say is potentially bigger than Manchester United is Real Madrid. That's it. I think apart from that, Manchester United is right up there. In terms of size, I'm not saying of doing well, obviously. And AC Milan isn't one of the best clubs in terms of the way that they play on the pitch right now. They have been in the past, but their size is still huge. Jaden Willow says, I'm Barcelona. Barcelona's massive. I still think United are bigger. The Duke says, Ricky, yes, been waiting for someone to say it. One more solid defender to integrate for Maguire, and definitely Baleba, probably two Balebas. Thank you for that super chat. He's going to be buzzing. He has someone that agrees with him. Look, everyone, thank you very much for getting involved with the show. Make sure you smash a like on the video if you've not already. I'm still a Baleba. There was a good update in there from Ben Jacobs. Upamecano stuff, wouldn't take much notice of it, but maybe some people like the Duke does actually think that we need a centre-back and puts that towards the top of the list. Let us know. Awais, just lastly, because I don't want to miss it, has also said, let's make a bet. If we sign Baleba and a first-choice keeper, you dye your hair red, all red. If we don't, I will give 50 subs when you are live. Deal. Go on then, deal. Go on then, deal. I'll do a bit of spray paint in there. Go on then. I'll remember Awais. I'll screenshot this show. Thank you very much. Smash a like on the video if you've not already. Remember that preview show is coming out on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, with Ricky and Maud. It's a cracker. Make sure you watch that, and make sure you go and watch it all. There's some great bits. Thank you so much for watching. Any breaking news will be back. If not, Mark will be back for the 8 p.m. show, and I will see you on the next one.